Good evening. This is Dr. Keffer from MED 543, and I am going to be talking about the information I gathered from reading the Valdez and Reed article regarding moving from face-to-face to online instruction. So, one of the first things I noticed was they were discussing learning engagement. So, if you're working face-to-face, your interactions foster engagement through real-time discussions, group activities, and immediate feedback. If you are doing online classes and they're asynchronous, here engagement may decrease due to lack of real-time interaction. Students work independently, and there is the potential for them to feel isolated. And then the third option is an online synchronous course. Here, the live sessions can enhance engagement, but technical issues or time zone differences may hinder participation. Like when we do our live chats, I try to provide a time that works well for everyone, but I'm in a different time zone than most of you, so I have to make sure that I can try and get everything done at a reasonable time for you and for me. And I mix up the time zones a lot, so sometimes I show up at the wrong time. Another area that was discussed was being able to be flexible. Those weren't their exact words, but I think I've got the gist of it. So, with in-person classes, your fixed schedules limit flexibility. When the bell rings, you got to change classes, whether you're in the middle of a lesson or not. If we were considering online asynchronous teaching, here the students can learn independently, but self-discipline is crucial. I earned all of my degrees, all my master's and my doctorate online. I did my undergrad work at a brick and mortar college. My daughter tried doing online classes. She couldn't do it. She couldn't create enough discipline in herself to be able to meet the requirements. It's worked well for me. It didn't work for her. So it's not for everyone. And then we could have an online synchronous class. Here we balance structure with flexibility, but the students must adhere to scheduled sessions. In another area where things might change is in the area of assessment. With in-person classes, you have your traditional exams and projects, and you can see them well, and you can check them out and move them around and do whatever you need to do to make sure that they fit the characteristics. With an online asynchronous class, assessments can be diverse, such as quizzes and essays, but academic integrity challenges may exist. There's no one to really keep an eye and make sure they're doing things the right way when it's so easy with the internet to just copy and paste something without thinking about it being plagiarized. And then and that's only because they haven't been taught that at this point, I'm going to say. Then we could have online synchronous classes, and we're going to be talking about real-time quizzes, or discussions, but there are technical glitches that may affect fairness. I don't know if you get the same things in your email that I get in mine, but I get an awful lot of emails from support talking about this has been fixed or that's been fixed or this is a problem. So you've got to be able to prepare for those. Another thing should be considered is social interaction. People are social um, by just by benefit of who they are. Although there's some of us that don't really like to be that sociable. But most people need some sort of social interaction. So when we're in a face-to-face class, that's not that difficult because we have rich social context that promotes collaboration and peer learning. With online asynchronous, we have discussion forums or virtual groups that can simulate interaction. And then with online synchronous, we have live chats or breakout rooms to facilitate interaction, but it's not the same as face to face. And it truly isn't. But we need to try and engage everyone as best we can. And then we have to consider the curriculum intent or curricular intent and constructivism. So in-person constructivism approaches thrive with hands-on activities, problem solving, and collaborative learning. With online asynchronous, you have to adapt constructivist strategies such as case studies and simulations into a digital format. And then online synchronous, your live discussions, peer feedback, and collaborative projects align with constructivism. But remember, each mode has its trade-offs. Asynchronous allows flexibility but lacks immediacy. Well, synchronous balances interaction with scheduling constraints. Teachers must creatively adapt activities and foster meaningful interactions to maintain a constructivist online environment. And of course, I pulled much of this information from the Valdez and Reed document. So that would be my reference for this part of my discussion. Now, next, I want to talk more about constructivism. So let's take a look at some of the specific characteristics of the curriculum and how they might be influenced by this transition. So, in person with learning engagement, we have real-time discussions, group activities, and immediate feedback that can enhance engagement. With an online asynchronous class, engagement may decrease due to lack of real-time interaction. And with online synchronous, live sessions can boost engagement, but again, those technical issues may arise. And when we are talking about flexibility that I mentioned from the Valdez or Allen and Valdez article, flexibility was the next main issue. So with in-person classes, your fixed schedules limit flexibility. With online asynchronous, students learn at their own pace, but they need that self-discipline again. And online synchronous balances the structure flexibly, but you still have some kind of schedule that needs to be followed. And, well, I lost my train of thought on that one. I'm just going to move on because otherwise I'll be here all day trying to remember what I was going to say. And then in the area of assessment, with in-person classes, you get the traditional exams and projects that we do when we're in school. With online asynchronous, you're going to get some more diverse assessments, um, such as quizzes and essays, and perhaps writing a term paper or something similar. And usually our students are pretty good doing this on their own, but sometimes when we're left to our own devices too long, things can change. Um, AI is a real thing out there nowadays, and using the internet, AI, and other um, types of plagiarism that we may not realize is plagiarism is much easier to do. And then we have to worry about social interaction. When we have in-person classes, of course, we get those robust social encounters that we're hanging out with our peer group. We're in class learning together. We're in the lunchroom eating together. We are outside on the playground together. And you miss a lot of that when you switch from asynchronous to synchronous, from in person. So, with an online asynchronous class, those constructivist strategies are going to be more difficult because you're going to have to find a way to adapt these strategies that are constructivist in nature into a digital format. And it can be a bit concerning. And then with online synchronous classes, we have live discussions, some peer feedback, collaborative projects, and these all align with constructivism. So remember, teachers must creatively adapt activities to maintain a constructivist environment online. I think that covers everything I needed to talk about, so thank you.